What's up guys, Chan the Barber back at it again. Today I'm going to be showing you how I do a modern mullet. Now my client Ethan doesn't want me to touch the length on top or the back. We're mainly going to be focused on the sides and doing more of the taper fade on the sides, leading into the back portion. But yeah, I still go through and tidy up the top and the back, but I don't really include that in today's tutorial. This will be more so the fading steps for the sides. I'm gonna start by just lightly saturating the hair. I don't want to get it extremely wet because I'm about to do clipper work, but I just want to get the hair to lay. Starting out with a number 3 guard open on my clipper to mainly debulk and set in the length I want on the top where the parietal ridge is. For this look, I feel like having a little bit more length on the top coming into that fade on the side just looks a lot better. And plus he has the curly hair, so it kind of gives it a slight disconnected look, but I really like it. Now I'm going to go with my trimmer, creating my bald guideline. I'm kind of arching from the top of the ear right there to the eyebrow. I'll make sure that that's clean, and then I will remove the hair below. Then we'll start working our way through the fade steps. Alright, now we have our clipper with no guard open, and we are making a 1/2 inch to 1 inch guideline coming up from our ball guideline, following that same slight arch. I'll make that clean. And once I've established that, I will close the clipper halfway and go midway into that guideline, and we're just going to go ahead and fade that out. So midway, somewhat using my corner a little bit more, just to not take off too much, and also just have a little bit more control. Then closing the clipper fully to completely knock that bottom line out. I might open the clipper a little bit here and there just to get some little dark spots I see, but using the corner when detailing. Now I have the number 1 guard open coming up from what we just created with the no guard, and making about the same width of guideline. Because he has a little bit more of the curly hair, I have to make sure that I'm combing down the hair and then running the clipper back through just to make sure I get any hair that I miss, because I want to make that guideline as clean as possible so I can see what I'm working with, but also just to have a better fade overall. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to close the clipper fully with the 1 guard, and I am just softening that line, not going all the way through that guideline, but just kind of midways, softening that bottom portion, and then I will fade it out with the 1/2 guard, which will be what I put on the clipper next. If you're trying to do fades and you don't have a 1/2 guard or a 1.5 guard, you really need to invest in getting that. It really helps blend out certain portions of the fade. So I have the 1/2 guard on about I have it like midway open, and I'm going halfway into that guideline, kind of using the corners a little bit here and there, softening that up even more, and then I will close the clipper fully, and mainly using the corners to knock out that bottom line. So similar to what we just did before with the initial guideline, but now we're using the half guard to knock this one out. The more you do these fade steps, you'll realize that you start remembering easier, and you'll get the hang of it, and how you do the process of it. But this is what I do. There's many different ways you can go about fading. This is just the process that I have always done and learned, and so there are different things that I change here and there about it, but for the most part I follow these same steps. Consistency is key, so the more that you do one particular thing, you'll get better at it, and you can mold it to your style and how you want to do it overall as you do it, but consistency is the real key. So I've got the half guard closed fully now, knocking out that bottom line. Now I'm going to soften that top portion. I've got the 2 guard on, just running over that top portion where it leads into the parietal ridge, softening that up, and then I will go with my 1.5 guard next to blend that out. Before I get to the 1.5 guard though, I believe I put my blending shears, so I have my blending shears, and I am softening that ridge so it's a smoother transition. You're still going to have a slight disconnect because of how curly his hair is, but this definitely will blend it a little bit better. And so after I do this, I will get my 1.5 guard to get that remaining line out. And I'll use the 1.5 guard, and then I'll come back with my 1 guard in some of the little darker areas that I couldn't get with the 1.5. So I have the 3 guard on, I'm running back over that ridge right there, just making sure I get anything that I didn't get before. You can see that top portion starting to blend. Alright, I have the 1.5 guard on. I think I have it about open halfway. Just taking that up halfway into that top guideline. And basically just doing the same steps that we just did. So I'll close it fully and go with my corners to knock out the bottom line. So I have it closed fully now, going into that bottom portion where it's darker to knock that out. It will still be left with a little bit, so I'll take my 1 guard after this to detail to soften that even more. So here's the full, closed fully with the corners. I'm sorry. What I had before that was halfway. So I started with it open and then I closed it halfway. So just basically working down. So now I have it closed fully and I am using the corner primarily to get that bottom portion out. As you can see, it's starting to look pretty faded. Now I have the one guard on, using the corners just to detail, and I probably have it closed, or I'm sorry, opened about halfway. Closing it. Trying to attack some of those darker areas. Being a little conservative with it though, because I don't want to create another guideline. So using the corners really helps. I start to see that blend out even more. Sometimes you have to run over a certain area in different directions because of the way the hair moves. So if you don't see it coming out in one direction, just kind of go in the other direction with your clipper. And if it's still not coming out, you might have to close the clipper or get another guard on. I'm gonna line him up right there, just following the natural growth of his hair, just cleaning up the edge. Do the same thing on the other side. I'm just gonna speed it up. The same steps apply to the other side, trying to maintain consistency. So I want to place the guidelines in the same spot and do the same thing, so we'll have the same result. Now I sprayed a little sea salt spray in his hair, and then I'm kind of using my fingers, scrunching the hair and kind of diffusing it a little bit. I really need to get a diffuser for my blow dryer, but this was a little technique that someone taught me at a class once, that you can kind of scrunch the hair and kind of do your own style of diffusing. Then I'm gonna put some texture powder in the hair, and mixing it with just a tad bit of clay. To create the final style. And he was really happy with it, and I'm really thankful that he allowed me to film it. And I thank you guys for watching. I'll blow him off clean. I'll show you the final look. So there you go. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you next time.